Hi there, it's me, Kate, talking to you internationally. I'm a linguist, polyglot, expert in cultural communication, founder of Femalingua, and leader of Lingua Plus. Well, while talking about language learning per se, being multilingual, multicultural, I believe it's quite important to focus on the notion of emotions. And I'm super curious actually to hear about your experiences because, well, being multilingual, multicultural, to live in like in 9 countries all over the world and working with different people, well, experiencing different emotions, different situations. I must admit that indeed emotions feel like quite differently, but I would say that languages feels like my languages kind of tied up to certain as well emotional states, and maybe in some languages I might feel maybe more optimistic in a way. They're like, lighter. And in some languages, I might feel a little bit more maybe pragmatic in a way, business-like, you know. Some could actually spark more of romance, right? More like romantic feelings, perhaps. Yeah, like this palette of emotions. Some could be more phlegmatic in a way. So it's quite interesting as well to hear how you feel. And what I've enjoyed doing while digging into my research about emotions and languages, especially studying works of Anna Wyzbecka, I believe it's true, like what's happening that when we live in different languages, let's say different countries and different languages, we memorize stuff, we memorize events a certain language, right? Certain culture, so they encode it in that way. And I've been doing as well therapy, right? And I believe it's a great way to improve your life, especially like quality of your life. And so far I've done therapy like what in four languages, I believe, 4, 5. I need to check. And I also noticed that if I tackle a memory, like certain emotion, in the language in which it was encoded, I can get deep in it, right? I can go deep into it, and it's working, and it's working better than if I work on certain emotion event encoded in one language and work in another language. And I believe this is like one of the, I would say, challenges, maybe disadvantages in the current state of therapy, that if a person is bilingual or multilingual, we go to work with monolingual therapist. And that monolingual therapist would never get into that deep stuff that was encoded in another language, in another cultural connotation. And that fascinates me because, as I say, as I had a chance to work like with different specialists, like different say, traditions, yeah, I noticed that for bilingual, for myself, yeah, and probably for bilingual, multilingual people, that also would be more effective in a way to work with different specialists in different languages. Because again, so emotions, I feel that as well, like they tied up obviously to cultural connotations, right? Perceptions of the world. And if you go really deep, not only in language, but also in culture, meaning that you live in country, you adapt, you get integrated, you kind of start sharing the views here with the locals, you start absorbing, yeah, you start absorbing that influence. And you start getting these associations and like semantic feel, let's say, which means that while you're switching between languages and you're kind of switching these filters, you indeed might feel slightly differently. Again, this is like all coming from my personal experience. I've heard that as well from some people, colleagues and friends who happen to be, multilingual, multicultural, but it's always good to hear from you because maybe you don't have it. And while talking here from my experience, I would say that definitely Well, those languages that are, let's say, more emotional, yeah, more emotive, more extroverted, especially like Romance languages, right? Talking about, well, Italian, yes, Spanish, French, Portuguese. I believe we might find there more, let's say, more descriptions of emotions connected, yeah, to certain emotional states and feelings, and also like a wider palette of that. Again, this is like one of my observations and like empirical, let's say, studies. And the same goes about the depth of feelings. The depth of feelings, let's say, the richness, yeah, of feelings, of emotions. Like for instance, I can say that English or German would be more perhaps for work, for business talks, for negotiations. And even like I would say like German for me, like perhaps you watch some of my stories about my traumas and languages, like German always stay like, quite there, really like far away. And I can't say that I'm very, warm towards it. Like again, this is me, but it's like great language, great culture. And they're like English, of course, it's like my native language basically, because I've been talking, I don't know, I started speaking English when I was, I don't know, 4 or 6, I don't remember. But in any case, like it's been like for years and years, like with me as like one of my primary languages, yeah, in my everyday life and mostly work. And of course, like personal life, yeah, when you get this emotional context. But I believe because of the way how we express emotions in English, especially British culture, because I'm familiar with British culture, right? I would say that it's more about preserved way, yeah, like preserved way to express emotions. So I feel, but again, I wouldn't express it much, right? While talking about Romance languages, yeah, like Italian, like gestures will say it all, right? Like intonations, right? There's passion, anger, all these languages there, I indeed feel I can express indeed my, well, positive and also negative feelings, meaning if there's a conflict, it's going to be a conflict, it's not like, all right, polite way, exchanging arguments, not at all. No, I'm a beast there. So that's the thing. I believe depending a lot on certain parameters or conditions, you could say, how emotions are expressed in certain cultures. Of course, you expressed languages. And when we learn those languages and we manage to plug in cultural settings, yeah, where our first-hand experience and actually learn those languages not only, let's say, at school, university, but actually in sociocultural context. Like, let's say that you learned like with us here, the Molingual, like up to like certain level. And we also like we're trying, to engage you into some sort of like emotive play. But anyways, then you are getting more and more real life experience in that language, and you get more memories encoded here in that language, emotions. So there you indeed start here feeling this, I would say, shift in emotional states, and then as well how you remember events. And I believe that it's crucial kind of observe it, yeah, to look at it from cultural intelligence point of view, right? And also emotional intelligence point of view. So, and there you have these 2 points. And I believe this what can make you indeed a successful global citizen in a way, because while you know about this difference in emotional states, and you understand there are different people from different cultures, even though sharing the same kind of, the same set of emotions, well, similar, still are different in the way how they process emotions, how they express emotions. And this gives you an advantage, or like as a professional, as a business person, because you'll be able like easier, like navigate, well, any kind of tensions in the room, conflicts, and find a way to collaborate better with people.